Do you have that one friend who seems to know an insufferable amount about a lot of random subjects? The person who chimes in with the odd and sometimes highly disturbing fun fact. Well, my name is Carly, and I am that friend. I often find myself wondering about topics that range from the history of certain holidays to what makes some wines expensive and some a little on the cheaper side. So I make use of that mini supercomputer I carry everywhere and just look it up. Lately, I have decided to share the random knowledge that I acquire with all of you lovely listeners. So welcome to I'm Already Looking It Up. Let's have a drink and learn a thing or two. Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm Already Looking It Up, the podcast where I, your host, researches a random topic and I tell you, my lovely listeners, all about it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so today's topic, we're going to talk a bit about dog breeding. This topic came about, it's just an idea, a thought. So me and my husband both have a favorite dog. As of right now, we don't have any dogs. My favorite type of dog is a corgi, because I love their short little legs and how their little butt shakes when they need to wag their tail. And I had a dog named Fiona when I was a kid, who was a corgi, and she was adorable, and I loved her. And then my husband's favorite dog, I actually should ask him if that's ever changed, but when we first got together, his favorite dog was the pug. So, there are many, many times me and him have discussed the fact that dog breeding is not great, and I've discussed this with other people too. Dog breeding is not a great practice. At first in history, it made sense to breed certain dogs to do specific jobs, but now a lot of dogs are bred purely for aesthetics' sake, and that can cause a lot of health problems later on. Like, I know one common example is the dachshund and how they can have really bad back problems later on in their life. And like pugs and dogs with kind of flat faces and everything often end up having respiratory issues. So it's not the best practice. So I bring this up just because, we used to talk a lot about how bad it was and how, like, when it comes down to it, one of the most ridiculous breeds to ever come into play is the pug. And I think they're cute, but they are like snorty little pigs sometimes. But in all fairness, my family, at least my mom, was really big on Shih Tzus. So near the end of us having, like, all of us leaving for college and all that, we had different dogs. But growing up, we had a few Shih Tzus. Our favorite was Cowboy. He lasted the longest. He lived till he was about 14 or 15. And we'd had him since I was in kindergarten, so basically our whole lives. And he was just the sweetest little dog ever. He liked to bite at toes and sleep, and he had the cutest little teeth that hung out from his bottom jaw. And later in life, he did have cataracts in his eyes, got pretty deaf, but he was just always a sweet dog. Even when he was older, he was a sweet boy. We miss Cowboy. Cowboy was very sweet. Right now, my parents have 5 dogs. 2 of them they had before I moved out, which was Annie and Rita. Rita is my mom's dog. She's a Chihuahua. She's not like a tiny Chihuahua, though. She's kind of more like a mid-sized, more natural Chihuahua. So one thing that I have learned in doing some of this research is Chihuahuas were actually meant to be more mid-sized. Small, like, so Chihuahuas, like, you see that when you hear the name, they're like tiny little things, right? Well, my mom's is more like the size of a Shih Tzu or the size of a Terrier or something along those lines. So, but she's kind of sweet. I used to joke around and say that she hated me because, it was always between me and her who had my mom's attention and blah, blah, blah. But she's a sweet girl. We love her. And then Annie was actually my dog before I moved out. But I moved away to go to college and all that, and couldn't take her with me because landlords don't like dogs where I went to college. So I didn't get to take her. She's kind of my dad's dog mostly now, but she's also very sweet. We love Annie. Annie's my baby. She's still my baby every time I go visit. She wants me to pick her up and love on her and all that. So we were a big dog family growing up. My parents were, at least. I always have loved cats. Cats have always been my favorite. But I like dogs too. No problem with dogs. But yes, me and my husband used to talk a lot about, like, if we were to ever get a dog, what we'd get and why and blah, blah, blah. And he's always talked about wanting a pug. And pugs, God bless them, they just have the craziest health issues and stuff. Those poor things. So, yes, dog breeding. That's what we're going to talk about today because I find this to be an interesting, controversial topic. Some people agree with it, some people don't. I don't necessarily agree with it in modern day. The fact that we kind of know a lot more about it and know how it works and know how dangerous it can be. I say just stop trying to breed specific dogs together for specific reasons. We already have our working dogs and they're great. So we don't really need, like, a lot of aesthetically pleasing dogs, because a lot of dogs are aesthetically pleasing. I mean, I think most dogs are pretty cute. So, I don't know. Anyway, but, you know, I agree with it early on when it was to breed a dog for a specific job. But that's not to say those dogs don't also have health problems and everything, so it's a whole mess. I mean, sometimes you just gotta kind of take the good with the bad. But, yeah, so, dog breeding. So, I looked up in, I think, Wikipedia was the first place I looked to talk about dog breeding. And then I have another short article, and then a really long Britannica Encyclopedia article, just all about dogs in general. But I'm going to kind of go through as we read it and talk about dog breeds more than anything. So, back up to the top. So the first article starts, spend a day watching the Westminster Kennel Club dog show, and it's hard to believe that a Shih Tzu shares a common ancestor with the Irish Wolfhound. With over 400 recognized breeds, the variety of dogs is mind-boggling, but genetic studies tell us that all dogs trace back to an extinct wolf species shared with the gray wolf, Canis lupus. Thanks to thousands of years of human interaction and intervention, today we have a large variety of dog breeds proudly strutting across our television screen and our living rooms. The story of how dogs have evolved from wolf to Chihuahua is fascinating, one that starts with our respective ancestors' earliest encounters. Most researchers who study canine genetics agree that dogs are really domesticated wolves. After all, their scientific name is Canis lupus familiaris. But the exact time that the relationship between wolves and humans turned from distrust and fear to mutually beneficial partnership is disputed. A large body of research suggests that dogs were domesticated between 12,500 and 15,000 years ago. But recent genetic studies suggest that domestication might have taken place even earlier. Some researchers believe that dogs might have commingled with humans as early as 130,000 years ago, long before human ancestors settled into agricultural communities. Another controversy surrounds the origins of these earliest domesticated dogs. Evidence pointed out to both Asia and Europe as the site of initial domestication, resulting in an unusual scientific tug-of-war. A 2016 study suggested that dogs were actually domesticated twice in both Europe and Asia, but a study published in 2017 pushed back on these results and suggests one domestication, but provides evidence that this event took place earlier, between 20,000 and 40,000 years ago. Recently published research in Cell Reports looking at the genetics of more than 150 different dog breeds also has unearthed genetic traces of a New World dog that migrated with humans across the Bering Strait. Archaeological evidence existed of this ancient dog, but the study was the first to show living evidence of these dogs in modern breeds, including the Peruvian hairless dog and the Zoloitzquit. I know what this is. I know it's like a Mexican thing, I think. No, that's different. Maybe. I don't know. I can't read it. Zoloitzquintel. Awesome. Probably said that way wrong. I'm so sorry. Most other dogs in North America are of European descent, first brought to the continent by waves of soldiers and settlers, and later imported for breeding purposes. Selective breeding has occurred for thousands of years in numerous domesticated species, not just dogs. In our canine friends, breeding for specific behavioral traits as opposed to conformational traits occurred first. However, where and when certain types of dogs originated is still uncertain. For example, when looking at different breeds of herding dogs, the Cell Reports study found something unexpected. When they compared the genetics of several well-known breeds of herding dogs, the researchers found that one group of dogs had its origins in the United Kingdom, another from Northern Europe, and yet another from Southern Europe. Excuse me. The team thought they would be more closely related. When the research looked closer, they realized each group used a different strategy to herd their flocks, a pattern that was born out of genetic data. This supports the growing theory that multiple human populations started purposeful breeding of dogs independent of one another. All right, there you go so far. Sorry, just wanted to take a quick drink. Okay. Most dog breeds we recognize today were developed in the last 150 years, spurred by what's become known as the Victorian explosion. During this time in Great Britain, dog breeding intensified and expanded, resulting in many of our most recognizable breeds of dogs. The Victorians, influenced by the ideas of Darwin, became passionate about breeding for the ideal of a certain breed. Many of the conformational traits we think of as classic for a certain type of dog have their origins in this era. Let's see. Compared to their current counterparts, okay, no, I'm not going to read that part because it's just about a picture. Breeding for conformational traits continued through the 20th century. The end result is the 400-plus types of dogs recognized as distinct breeds. The downside of this extensive breeding program was the loss of genetic diversity and conformation changes that had detrimental breed-specific health consequences, including the development of undesirable diseases. As we approach the third decade of the 21st century, technological advances have given scientists a new perspective on humankind's best friend. Canine companions spontaneously develop some of the same diseases that plague humans, such as cancer, heart disease, and obesity. Researchers hope that dogs might shed light on how these conditions develop, ultimately leading to treatments that could help both species. One such study is the Morris Animal Foundation Golden Retriever Lifetime Study that is gathering lifestyle and genetic information on more than 3,000 golden retrievers. This groundbreaking project will provide a wealth of new information that will help identify risk factors for canine diseases, including many cancers. This study also has many translational components that may inform human health risk factors. All right. Morris Animal Foundation was one of the first organizations to recognize the potential of genetic research not only in dogs, but in cats, horses, and llamas, or llamas. By unlocking the genetic code, Foundation-funded researchers have discovered new therapy targets, genetic abnormalities, underlying disease, and greater understanding of the problem afflicting our beloved companions. All right. Cool little PSA. Check on your dogs. Let's see. Okay, don't really need to read that one because it kind of goes into what we've already talked about. We talked a bit about ancestry. Probably just gonna go down to talking about the different types of breeds that you can have, because dogs are interesting in this. And that's kind of what this episode is meant to be about. If you want me to do just a general episode on dogs, I could. It would just, I don't know, I feel like that wouldn't be very interesting because a lot of people know a lot about dogs. Okay. So, breed-specific behavior, Newfoundlands. There are distinctive breed-typical personalities that have been developed through generations of selection for certain traits. By roughly grouping dogs according to the work they were bred to do, it is possible to determine the type of temperament a dog might have at maturity. Differences in breed personalities can be seen at an early age. Sporting dogs will generally be adventurous, following their noses wherever scents lead them, but will respond enthusiastically to calls from familiar humans. Hounds generally tend to be more aloof and independent, inclined to scout the territory on their own and follow a scent or movement. They are not as interested in human interaction as the bird dogs are. Working and herding dogs have more business-like dispositions. They tend to evaluate situations and set about their tasks. Collie puppies have been known to herd children, ducklings, or each other in an instinctive manifestation of their birthright. Guarding dogs tend to be protective of their territories even at an early age. Such dogs as the Maremma or the Kuvaz, I don't know, which are bred to guard flocks, are placed with the sheep from the time that they are puppies in order to reinforce their basic protective instincts. Collies and Akitas are known for their strong sense of loyalty. Terriers, bred to chase and catch rodents, have a tendency to be extremely active, lively, and feisty as puppies. Traits that continue into adulthood. Newfoundlands are renowned for life-saving instincts. I love Newfoundlands. I think they're adorable. Breed specificity also affects how well dogs adapt to new surroundings or new owners. Such things cannot be taught to dogs. They are innate, part of a dog's instinctive behavior, and are often breed-specific, although mixed breeds have been known for unique instincts as well. That's what Annie is. She's a mixed breed. She is part Shih Tzu and part Jack Russell Terrier. She has super wiry hair, and I love her because she's adorable. She's super photogenic. I have a lot of really cute pictures of her. All right, the next one, dogs as pets. The companionship between humans and dogs is not a new phenomenon. However, in modern society, most dogs are owned as pets, not because of the work they were bred to do. Many breeds, such as the toy dogs, were developed precisely to be pets. All of the diverse breeds and mixed breeds have unique traits and appeal to different kinds of people. Acquiring a dog is a major decision because the dog becomes totally dependent on its owner for its care and welfare. This responsibility continues throughout the life of the dog. Thus, the initial decision should be based on a serious consideration of whether one's lifestyle truly lends itself to owning a dog. That is, whether a dog would be an asset rather than a liability. Selection. Or, I'll read. We can go through or go past these and go to the breeds, because I don't want to spend too long just talking about like how you select a dog and what you should look for and everything. And there was a lot there. Honestly, I really do encourage going to Encyclopedia Britannica. I think it's just Britannica.com now. And you can go on there and search anything, and oh my god, they have so much information. Like this article, I'm skipping a lot just to get to what I want to talk about. So definitely, if you want to know more about dogs and picking dogs and stuff, that Britannica article is great. Though I can't imagine many people will look at it, but I don't know, I like it. All right, so the next part, the breeds. There are approximately 400 separate breeds of purebred dogs worldwide. A purebred dog is considered to be one whose genealogy is traceable for 3 generations within the same breed. National registries such as the American Kennel Club in the United States or the Canadian Kennel Club, the Kennel Club of England, and the Australian National Kennel Council maintain pedigrees and stud books on every dog in every breed registered in their respective countries. The Foxhound Kennel Stud Book, published in England in 1844, was one of the earliest registries. Other countries also have systems for registering purebred dogs. The AKC represents an enrollment of more than 36 million since its inception in 1884, and it registers approximately 1.25 million new dogs each year. The groups recognized by the AKC are identified below. In the 1800s, those interested in the sport of dogs developed a system for classifying breeds according to their functions. The British classification, established in 1873 and revised periodically by the Kennel Club of England, set the standard that other countries have followed with some modifications. British, Canadian, and American classifications are basically the same, although some of the terminology is different. For example, sporting dogs in the United States are gun dogs in England. Utility dogs in England are non-sporting dogs in the United States and Canada. Not all countries recognize every breed. The United States recognizes 7 classifications called groups, encompassing more than 150 breeds, whereas the English and Canadians have 6 groups. The American system divides the working group into 2 groups, working dogs and herding dogs. All right, so the first one they start with is sporting dogs. There are dogs that scent and either point... These are dogs that scent and either point, flush, or retrieve birds on land and in water. They are the pointers, retrievers, setters, spaniels, and others, such as the Vizsla, and the Weimaraner. Yeah, I was gonna say I should know how to say that. I've seen Best in Show like a million times. The next group is hounds. Love hounds. These are also hunting dogs, but much more various than the sporting dogs. There are scent hounds and sight hounds. They are a device group ranging from the low-slung dachshund to the fleet-footed greyhound. However, they are all dedicated to the task for which they were bred, whether coursing over rough terrain in search of gazelles, such as the Afghan hound or the Saluki, or going to ground after badgers like the dachshund. Hounds, such as beagles, basset hounds, harriers, foxhounds, and coonhounds, run in packs, while others, such as Afghan hounds, Borzois, Pharaoh hounds, and Salukis, course alone. The hound group also includes the petite basset griffon Vendine and the otter hound. The Rhodesian Ridgeback, which was bred to hunt lions in Africa, and the bloodhound, best known for its remarkable ability to track. The Irish wolfhound, Scottish deerhound, Basenji Whippet, and Norwegian elkhound are also in this group. In Canada, drivers belong to the hound group as well, and in England, the Grand Basset Griffon Vendine is included. Fantastic. All right, so this next one is terriers. God loves a terrier. Yes, he does. If you've ever seen Best in Show, I was gonna say I just said it. Yeah, there's a couple of different gods in there. There's a bloodhound. There's a Weimaraner. I think it's Weimaraner. And there's a terrier. There's a couple of just really, it's such a sweet movie, and I love it. I might watch it tonight after I finish doing all this recording, because it's just so cute. But yeah, I strongly encourage watching that movie, just because, like, you do kind of learn a lot about the Westminster Dog Show, except they're the Plymouth Rock Kennel Club, I think, is what their name is, or something like that. But yeah, it's a great movie, and it's super cute, and if you like dogs, you'll probably enjoy it. So, all right, so the terrier group. The terrier group consists of both big and small dogs, but members of this group, more than any other, share a common ancestry and similar behavioral traits. Terriers were bred to rid barns and stables of vermin, to dig out unwanted burrowing rodents, and to make themselves generally useful around the stable. Terriers were used in the poor man's recreation of rat killing, especially in England, where most of these breeds originated. Upper classes used terriers in fox hunting. Yay. They also were bred to fight each other in pits, hence the name pit bulls. I didn't know that. Okay, cool, interesting. Love to learn new things. During the late 1900s, dogfighting was outlawed in most states and countries of the Western world, and these dogs were thereafter bred for a friendly temperament rather than for aggressiveness. Terriers, because they had to fit in burrows and dig underground, were bred to stay relatively small, although large breeds are not uncommon. Their coats are usually rough and wiry for protection and require minimum maintenance, unlike hounds or sporting dogs, which only found or chased their quarry. Terriers were often required to make the actual kill as well, giving them a more pugnacious temperament than their size might suggest. They're adorable. I love terriers too. It's one. I don't even know what my favorite type of dog is. I mean, I love corgis, I really do, but there are some other dogs that are so cute. Like a golden retriever is adorable. We had a golden retriever at one point. He was insane. His name was Dexter. He was crazy. We've had a lot of different types of dogs, so it's hard to say. Fiona was obviously one of my favorites. Annie, I love because she's my sweet girl. But yeah, dogs are interesting. There's just so much. And with cats, it's so much different because they all have the relatively same look about them. There's not a lot of differences in just kind of like how their anatomy works. Yes, there are some cats who have the folded ears, or some cats who have the flat faces, or it doesn't feel like with cats there's a lot of diversity. I love cats, don't get me wrong. I like cats more than dogs, but it really doesn't feel like there's a lot, unless I'm just crazy. Anyway, so I do, yeah, but I love terriers. I think they're adorable. All right, working dogs. This group of dogs was bred to serve humans in very practical and specific ways. They are the dogs most often associated with guarding, leading, guiding, protecting, pulling, or saving lives. Working dogs range in size from medium to large, but all are robust with sturdy and muscular builds. Working dogs are characterized by strength and alertness, intelligence, and loyalty. Among the breeds often associated with guarding homes, person, or property are the Akita, Boxer, Bull Mastiff, Doberman Pinscher, Giant Schnauzer, Great Dane, Mastiff, Rottweiler, and Standard Schnauzer. Dogs bred to guard livestock are the Great Pyrenees, Commodore, Commandor, and Cubazes. I don't know, same one from earlier. In England, Pyrenean mountain dogs are recognized in this group, as are all the herding dogs, and in Canada, Eskimo dogs are included. Also, in the working group are those dogs bred to pull, haul, and rescue. These include the Alaskan Malamute. Is it Malamute or Malmute? I've heard both. And Siberian Husky, the Samoyed and the Bernese Mountain Dog, the Portuguese Water Dog, the Newfoundland, and the St. Bernard. The Bernese Mountain Dog. If I ever had to get a big dog, that would be the dog I would want because they're massive. They're like the size of like a medium-sized bear or something. They're huge. I really want one. But I wouldn't be able to walk it because it would take off with me. Like it would be dragging me. Where did I live? Okay. Poodles of the three varieties, standard, miniature, and toy, are part of this group in England, as are several other breeds found in the non-sporting group in the United States. All right, so now we got herding dogs, which is what Fiona was. Herding dogs. The herding breeds are livestock-oriented, although they are versatile in protecting and serving humans in other ways. Herding breeds are intelligent and lively, making fine family pets or obedience competitors. Dogs were first used to assist sheep herders in the 1570s, but other varieties were bred for different herding tasks. Herding breeds are quick and agile, able to work on any terrain and well suited for short bursts of high speed. These dogs, even the compact breeds, are strong and muscular, possessing proud carriage of head and neck. Herding dogs perceive even the slightest hand signals and whistle commands to move a flock or seek out strays. Oh, had a fly. Some herding breeds drive the flock by barking, circling, and nipping at the heels, while others simply confront the flock with a silent stare, which also proves effective. Herding dogs serve other functions. These breeds are excellent guards used in the military and law enforcement or for personal protection. Herding dogs are among those with the closest relationship to humans. Yep, I had a corgi. She was a herding dog. She would herd me and my brothers in the morning when we were getting ready for school. And then at the time when we had her, we lived on a farm, and she would try to go out and herd the cows every time we let her outside. It was adorable. I loved it. She was so cute. All right, the next one is the toy group, a group popular with my family. The toy group is composed of those canines that were bred specifically to be companion animals. They were developed to be small, portable, and good-natured, the sort of dog that ladies of the court could carry with them. These dogs were largely pampered and treasured by aristocracy around the world. Several of these breeds come from ancient lineage. The Pekingese and the Japanese Chin were owned by royalty. No one else was permitted to own one of these breeds. They were carefully bred and nurtured, and until the mid-20th century, they were not allowed to be exported out of their countries of origin. In England, the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, a bred-down version of the Sporting Spaniel, was the favorite pet of many royal families. Cavaliers, while popular in the United States, are not registered with the AKC, but their close cousins, the English Toy Spaniels, are. Toy Poodles also belong to this group. Lady and the Tramp, she's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. I have always thought I wanted one of those. I think their temperament is not great, though. I think they, at least I heard at one point, I don't know for sure, I've never owned one, but I think they have not a great temperament for families, which, I mean, I don't have a whole big family, but they probably wouldn't like my cats very much. The miniature pinscher resembles the Doberman pinscher, but in fact, it is quite different. It is of quite different legacy. This perky little dog has a particularly distinctive gait found in no other breed. Its standard calls for a hackney gait such as that found in carriage horses. Other members of the toy group are equally individual in their looks and personalities, making this the most diverse groups of dogs. They make ideal apartment or small house pets and are found ranging from hairless, the Chinese crested, to the profusely coated Pekingese or Shih Tzu. In general, however, toy breeds are alert and vigorous dogs. They are fine-boned and well-balanced, often considered graceful animals. So, yeah, we had a lot of Shih Tzus growing up, which is why I say my family loves these dogs. Or loves toy dogs. And we actually did have a miniature poodle too, and he was the sweetest thing. His name was Jasper, and we loved him. He was so soft. I actually never, my mom likes to bring this up a lot every time I bring up Jasper. So my mom had gone out and she was going to get my brother a dog for Christmas, because he wanted a big dog and we were used to having small dogs and all that. So my mom was going to get him a dog, and she went to go get this dog and ended up with two dogs because they were kind of raised together, so they were kind of like brothers. But on the one hand, you had this really big black mutt of a dog. We were sure he was part pit bull. I think he ended up being something else, but my brother named him Jack. And then my mom brought in this little puffy white toy poodle, and his name was Jasper. And she brought him in, and she was like, pet him. I was like, I can't believe you got a poodle. Why would you get a poodle? Poodles are annoying. And she was like, just, pet him, give him some love, show him some love. So I started to pet his little head, and I was like, oh my God, he is so soft. And he was so soft, and I kept petting him, and I couldn't believe how soft he was. And my mom had me sit with him on the couch, and he was just the sweetest little thing. And couldn't believe that I fell in love with this dog. Now, this is before I had Fiona. But I would get another miniature poodle, toy poodle, whatever. I would get another one again because he was so sweet, and he had great temperament, and I love that dog. I actually got to give him his full name. I don't remember if my mom ever actually put it on his, because he did have, a certification or something, if I remember correctly. So his full name, I was like, I'm going to give him a really long French name. Because we had another dog named Tuco who also had a really long name, and he was a Shih Tzu. But his full name was Jasper Jacques Clouseau. Oh, there was another something French in there. I don't know. I gave him a really long French name. And I thought it was the funniest thing. So that was his. And then we also had, like I said, we had a Shih Tzu whose name was Tuco, which my dad named. He was maybe going to be a breed of miniature Shih Tzu, where he was not going to get much bigger than baby sized, and he really didn't. And his name was Tuco. He was super sweet too, but he was kind of a little brat, and he could snore like no other. My dad actually gave him his name, and it was Tuco Benedicto Pacifico Juan Maria Ramirez, which is the name of the ugly in the good, and the bad, the ugly. My dad's really into Westerns. And I remember coming home from a friend's house, and my mom had brought this dog home. And I walk into the kitchen, and she's standing there, and she's like, Carly, go look in the living room or something like that. I go over and I'm like, why do we have a guinea pig roaming around on our floor? And she's like, no, that's a dog. And I was like, oh. I think we were only supposed to like babysit him or keep him for a little bit. And this happened a lot to us too, where we were only supposed to be seeing these dogs or having them in our home for not very long, and they just kind of ended up becoming our dogs. I don't know exactly how that happened, but yeah, he ended up just kind of becoming one of our dogs, and he was a sweet boy. He snored like crazy. He did like to bite a little. He was a bit of a feisty little thing, but we loved him all the more. He's probably one of my dad's favorite dogs that we've had. So, but all that to say, like, dogs are great. I love them. And then, so we still have one more group left. I was just kind of ranting there, but one more group. The non-sporting group is a catch-all category for those breeds that do not strictly fit into any other group. Arguments could be made for assigning some of these breeds to other groups. The Dalmatian, for instance, could be a working dog, as it is in England. This group includes the appealing Bichon Frise, the Bulldog, the Poodles, standard and miniature, and the Chinese Shar-Pei. Is a Shar-Pei the one that's really like got the rolls on his body? I don't remember. I have to look it up. In the where is it? All have unique histories, many quite ancient. Other Asian representatives are the Tibetan Spaniel and the Tibetan Terrier, neither of which are true Spaniels or Terriers. The Chow Chow and the Lhasa Apso. Non-sporting is also the category for the Finnish Spitz, the Keyshound, the Keyshound, the French Bulldog, and the Schipperke. All the non-sporting breeds are of small to medium build, with sturdy and balanced frames, often square-like. The Chow Chow, French Bulldog, and the Dalmatian are among the more muscular breeds in this group. In general, non-sporting dogs are alert and lively. There is no comparable classification in Britain, although these breeds, except for the Boston Terrier, are found in other groups. The Boston Terrier, not a true terrier, although it once contained the terrier blood, is one of the few Native American dogs. The others are the Alaskan Malamute, the Beagle, the American Foxhound, the Chesapeake Bay Retriever, the American Cocker Spaniel, all found in other groups. There you go. That is all the breeds. Nice. Yeah, other than the miniature poodle, I don't think I've ever had a non-sporting dog. Though I'm not sure if Jasper was a miniature or a toy, because I feel like there's a toy poodle breed now too, so I don't know. But yeah, there you go. We had a lot of these. I've seen a lot of these too. I definitely love, some of the really big ones are so fun for me, because I'm just like, oh, like I'm only 4'10", or 4'10 and a half, or I don't know, close to 5 foot, but just a little bit under it. And I remember we had this dog called Mary Kay. I don't remember what she was. I think she was a Spitz. But I do have a very distinct memory of like trying to ride her like a horse, and it did not go well. But some of these dogs are just so massive and amazing, and I love it. All right, the last part of this is breed standards. Purebred dogs are distinguished from mixed breed animals because their genetic structure allows them to reproduce themselves generation after generation. Every breed that is registered with a national registry, such as the American Kennel Club or the Kennel Club of England, must have a standard for that breed. The standard is the blueprint by which the breed is evaluated. It describes the characteristics that make a particular breed unique. Standards were developed by fanciers who wanted to perpetuate a particular line or strain who formed associations to foster certain breeds. It is the goal of most purebred dog fanciers to breed dogs that best represent the ideal qualities for the breed as described by the standard. Standards outline requirements for physical traits and behavioral or personality traits. All right, so there you go. That's dog breeds, man. Very brief history. I didn't even really get to talk about pugs that much, but I'm always open to doing other topics that kind of branch off things that I've done. So if anybody does want to hear about a particular dog breed and its history, I would love to talk about it. I think this is a very fascinating topic and something that needs to be talked about in today's society because it's such a problem. Not the topic in general, but just and breeding. There's nothing wrong with breeding a specific type of dog. It's just the practices that a lot of people employ to do so, how much money they cost. My parents had a Pekingese? Not a Pekingese. What is he? Little small barky dog. Sorry, Chewy. But he is a purebred as far as we know, and he was a lot of money. So I mean, it's just the practices and the way they go about it and how much money they cost and all that stuff. It's not great. And if you're going to get a dog, I highly suggest just going to a shelter and getting a dog, because those dogs deserve homes. And not to say that all dogs don't deserve homes, but those dogs have been waiting, and you usually only have to pay for rehoming or something along those lines. So yeah, that's my soapbox for this episode. It's okay, I guess, if you need a specific working dog or something, but yeah, I definitely think people should just go to shelters or adopt strays or something like that. So, but anyway, I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. Thank you for taking the time to listen. And if you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps me out. I do work a full-time job. I am not in need of monetary support necessarily, but if you did want to throw $1 a month at me, I would very much appreciate it. You can go to patreon.com/Wild Forest Productions. The Wild is spelled WYLDE. And if you want to find me on any of my social medias, you're either going to find me under that same tag, or you're going to find me under Empress Wild. Wild would be spelled the same way. So, you can take a look, and if you want to support me, I really appreciate it. It's $1 a month. If I do get a lot of supporters or anything like that, I will probably add a tier that allows people to pick a topic or suggest a topic or something along those lines. So, there you go. But anyway, thanks again, and I will see you next time. Bye! Thank you for listening to I'm Already Looking It Up. If you're enjoying the podcast, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to my Patreon at patreon.com/Wild Forest Productions. Don't forget to check out all the social links below. Thank you!